Good day, everyone. I'm Michael, the moderator for this webinar. I welcome everyone for today's webinar, which is Credentialing and Provider Enrollment 103. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our presenter for today, Yesenia Servin. Yesenia Servin, CPMSM, PESC, is an expert in credentialing and provider payer enrollment with over 24 years of experience in the healthcare industry. Yesenia has a deep understanding of Medicare and Medicaid enrollment and is a nationally certified credentialing manager and provider enrollment specialist. I would now like to hand over the floor to the speaker. Over to you, Yesenia.
Hi, and thank you so much for introducing me. Today we're going to review 103 topics. We talked about 101. We did a full session on that. We did 102, and today we're doing 103, so we're going to dive a little deeper. And so we're going to review what it looks like when you're managing an organization that has multiple practice locations, multiple NPIs, multiple practitioners. We're going to talk about how you set up any delegated agreement versus the individual agreements. We're going to talk about the reimbursement, the different tax IDs, again, the multiple NPIs, and we're going to look at the CAQH process from a provider data portal and from that groups module, which is a newer module, and it's very helpful for all of us that are managing groups in terms of enrollment and insurance credentialing. Credentialing is not the same as enrollment. Credentialing means that you are actually verifying the provider's license, education, training, work history. Enrollment is the actual process of reviewing the contract, completing their application process. And then your payers, you have the different commercials, you have government payers, and then you have all the profiles that you have to maintain as a credentialing and enrollment specialist, a professional. And so I always also include this reminder, because when you look at a revenue cycle model for any healthcare system, they never start at the provider credentialing and enrollment. So we already have the definition. Here's a more detailed definition on what the differences are between credentialing and enrollment. Those I'll leave up to you to review and make sure that you're implementing and that you're correcting people when they're using the wrong term. So the CAQH, we're going to talk about the provider portal and the practice manager portal and the groups module. And then your NPEPES is your type 1 is your individuals NPI, and your type 2 is your organization NPI. So let's review the provider profile. It's 5 easy steps. This is for the CAQH provider data profile. It used to be called CAQH ProView. And then this is part of the CAQH practice manager. And then let's talk about the organizations with delegated agreements. So delegated agreement means that there's a contract between your organization and that particular payer. Now, sometimes you work with organizations that have 10 providers here, 7 providers here. You can group all of that together. So some of the questions and things that they want, they obviously need the tax ID information, the NPI information, the location. If you don't have delegation agreements, then you'll have to continue on with the payer agreements, if it's on a portal, if it's by fax, it's by PDF. This shows you how you can be connected just with your own CMS profile, and then you connect to the NPEPES and you connect to CMS PECOS as well. You can go into nucc.org and get familiar with all that data that's in that website. When we talk about Medicare enrollment, again, when you're doing it correctly, you're going to log into your own PECOS and pull the information. This is what each of those applications looks like, or that's the name of them, and that's who falls under them. You have to find out exactly where your organization falls and then where your individual practitioner falls. So this is just a different view of those specific applications and how you can use them to help you, to assist you on how to pick where each of them falls when you log into PECOS. One other big piece that CMS has been very clear about is making sure that you have the correct defined authorized official on file. This is the official language, and then here are the recommendations. So what else you need to make sure you have and remind everyone is the board members, all of these persons, you have to remind them that you need their personal demographic information. These pieces have to be reported to Medicare. You can create a prioritization grid. So for your organization, your entities, you're going to prioritize that NPEPES, that contract, that PECOS. Your government will always be first. These are the policies or steps or checklists, whatever you want to call them, that can be created and can be built into your systems. Make sure you're completing a timeline, and this will look different depending on your payer. Again, more breakdown of how you want to do the splitting of responsibilities on your team. So let's talk a little bit about the licensure compacts. Again, this is a 103 session, so we have a lot more info. Review, attest, and maintain. So easy to have your system calculate this. If you don't have a system that calculates this, then your Excel sheet can do it very easily. It's super checklist. So you can use it whether you have delegated agreements or individual. So the way that it works is you'll complete that group's profile, understanding that whether you're delegated or non-delegated, you can be using the groups. Okay, we actually got through all of our slides. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining.
Thank you, Yesenia. And so that does conclude the session for today. Thank you, everyone, for participating. You may all disconnect now. Have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.